I wish I had this kind of confidence in speaking much earlier in my life. It is something that's demanded of all of us. It's expected of us on every job, in our personal lives, whether we're dealing with, family or friends. And yet there's no official training within our school systems or even on board
Mm.
jobs to get there. And if I had had these skills earlier in my career, in my 20s, I can only imagine where I'd be today.
Now, do you think speaking and communication is an essential skill in order to be a leader or successful in today's world?
It is the only skill you're going to need, because if you can't
Wow.
communicate your vision, if you can't communicate your thoughts, bad, good, or indifferent, if you can't express what it is that needs to happen that's happening in your head, then how will anybody else connect with it, understand it, and be able to champion your ideas forward?
So I feel like a lot of people have a fear of being not taken seriously or losing their authority or credibility if they're
Mm.
going to be super authentic and sharing everything, right? Not necessarily everything, but everything that genuinely they went through or that matters. I feel like there's a hidden fear that some of us don't admit, and that holds us back. How can somebody stay in the role of having the authority, credibility, but still be authentic and vulnerable as a leader?
Honesty is so important, but you need to be honest with yourself first. Go through these stories, these moments, and you really also have to be discriminatory within yourself to say, what is this audience ready to hear these things? And that's really the bellwether, right? So if you're, say, in the weight loss business and you've gone through a tremendous transformation in weight loss yourself, that audience is probably going to want to hear your story of how you went from A to B. That audience is right. And you need to be sure that they could hear that. I mean, think of every TED Talk. It's all about somebody overcoming some outrageous obstacle, unfortunate situation, grave, horrible situations, and they persevere. And those audiences who tune in are prepared to hear that. You, as the speaker, really need to understand this is the person I'm speaking to or the people. So they're ready to hear that. But be brave in saying, this is also who I am. And I lived through this and it was real. And chances are a lot of other people out there have a similar story like yours and are looking for that hope and that perseverance to get through their troubles.
So for somebody who's afraid to speak up, I guess it's also like a fear of rejection or not
Mm.
feeling good enough. What advice do you have for those listeners today if they feel like they want to speak up, but they just don't know how or where to start?
One of the key things I would go back to is a TED Talk. There are many out there, and you can watch many of them. And think about the ones you connect with, even if it's a bad, unfortunate situation. I could talk about an instance where I was asked to help promote a webinar on finding a job. And I couldn't get this 30-second video out. I kept recording it. I wrote it. It was perfectly rehearsed. And I was so frustrated after an hour doing a 30-second take. I finally just said, Shelley, you're getting one more take. Just say something. And I talked about the time I got laid off. Because even though I was humming along and doing my work, and even though people may not have been telling me things I was doing wrong or right, it would have been in my better interest if I asked more questions about that. Am I doing something right? How can I do my job better? What do I need from this organization? Or what do you believe you need in me to help achieve the company's goals? Not only to help build the company, but to build my own personal development. Because the truth is, I left that job. The company's
Yeah.
still there, but I can take all those skills with me and those dreams and those experiences and take it to the next place I go to. And that's what we have to remember is our identity is within us, not belonging to a company. Invest in yourself as well as the organization, and hopefully the organization is investing in you the same, whether you stay with them or they're helping you become better somewhere else. And when I shared that story, a weight came off my shoulders and I felt like I just crossed over into like euphoria. And people that heard that spot, I cut it, I sent it in, and people that responded to it oh my gosh, I felt the same way. I got laid off too. Tell me your experience. How can you share it? All of a sudden, by connecting and not being afraid to share my own experiences, good or bad, I was helping others. And that moment became more important than my own judgment on myself.
How do you ignore the nerves, or how do you get over
Mm.
that public speaking fear in order to get to that human level? Because a lot of people can connect one on one, but when it's
Yeah.
in a group setting and there's so many eyes on you, they freeze, or they just, the pressure is too high, of the stakes are too high to mess up, and they forget the human to human connection. What advice do you have for those speakers?
Well, there's good news and bad news. I'll give you the bad news first. Those nerves never go away. Never. I still get nervous when I have to go on, presentation mode. It's there. But here's the good news. You could take that energy, that nervous energy, and you can reframe it by saying, you know what, I'm nervous about speaking today on the podcast, but I'm excited to share my knowledge. And that reframing of I'm nervous to I'm excited, you're relabeling the energy source in your body. And once you say excited, look, I can't, you naturally smile with that
Yes,
word.
you redirect the energy in a positive way.
Exactly right. And then it just shifts from there and you're just repurposing that energy because you need that energy to motivate. You just don't want it to take you down.
Now, do you still speak, or are you mainly coaching and writing?
I do speak. I host a lot of workshops and I do speak in front of organizations on these very topics we're talking about today. Absolutely.
I love that. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your speaking career?
I had been a marketing manager for quite some time, and I went to a conference with the owner of the company, and the person who was supposed to speak was detained last minute. And so, because I was familiar with the product and what we were really presenting there, my boss said, "Hey, Shelley, you get out there and present." I had no notes. I didn't write any script. I wasn't prepared other than what I had been doing the last 6 months. So I knew something, but really, I have to get out there and speak?
How did that feel?
Terrible. Nerve-wracking. My mind went blank. I was shaking so much. I'm sure everybody saw my knees just slamming together. And what was so interesting about that moment, Yegi, was I connected with a woman in the audience, and she was looking at me like eager to hear what I had to say. And I
Wow.
just started speaking to her. And I looked at others and they were receptive to what I was saying. And I realized it wasn't the thoughts I was putting the judgment in my own brain. It was really what I had to offer that other people wanted to hear.
What does it take to be a speaker?
As we kind of been talking about today is first connect with your stories. It's not what you or something I've done is be sure I didn't set out to let people know or tell people what I think they wanted to know. Truly just share my journey and my experience and my growth as well as others and be genuine in that space. So taking those stories and being honest about them. And at the same time, there are many bureaus out there that you can apply for and put your profile up there and start with doing local, free perhaps speaking engagements. There are a lot of colleges that bring professionals in as experts to speak on their area of expertise, business schools, right? Sports, whatever your area of interest is, beauty, a beauty business. And then you could even work your way up from that once you build up that experience and that resume. Start going after the paid gigs. And again, there are bureaus and ways to find all of those opportunities because there are conferences happening all over the world. They're in person, they're online. They're always looking for speakers to contribute their ideas.
Awesome. And I just noticed on your bio, you are also a recipient of the 2025 Woman Changing the World Award, which is very impressive. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, it was a wonderful experience and very surprising. I was nominated by a woman, Trish Chennai, who has an organization called Share Your Stories. And I've been part of her group for a long time. And she has a mentorship program, and people just literally share their stories and help support other professionals build up their business confidence. And she had nominated me for the category of I believe, business of the year and coach of the year and professional services of the year. So it came to my surprise, and even more so when I heard back from the organization that I was nominated. And it was a great experience to go to London and be there when the awards were presented and meet people that I've met or known for years online, to meet them in person. And what an experience that was, and an opportunity to just take our relationship to the next level and take that award and see how I can
Yes,
inspire.
that's so rewarding, that just the confirmation you need that you are doing what you're meant to be doing.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And you get empowered by that too. Great news. The conversation continues. When you subscribe, like, and ring the bell, you'll know when a new episode has released. As always, speak remarkably.